From the window, I saw her again, the woman from 2B, stepping onto their balcony with a cigarette, dangling from her lips like a fuse, waiting to ignite. She didn't glance up. Why would she? But the way she lingered there, exhaling smoke in lazy coils that drifted toward our floor like accusatory fingers, made my skin prickle. It was the kind of stare you feel before you see it, heavy and loaded, as if she'd been tallying every creak of our floorboards, every muffled laugh from our kitchen. Emily pulled the curtains shut with a sharp tug, her face pale in the lamplight. "They're escalating," she said, voice barely above a whisper, as if speaking louder might summon the next slam. I nodded, but inside, a knot tightened, the kind that whispers, you're not just leaving a bad situation. You're escaping something that wants to follow. That was 3 weeks before the end, though we didn't know it then. Looking back, the unraveling started not with the base or the doors, but with the lamppost. It had been broken for a year, a skeletal arm jutting from the courtyard grass, its bulb shattered in some long-forgotten storm. The city had promised fixes, stickers on the pole, emails from the complex manager, but nothing came. It stood there like a forgotten sentinel, casting the entire lower levels in perpetual shadow, especially 2B's bedroom window and balcony. Their unit hugged the base of it, close enough that on windy nights, the creak of its metal frame mimicked footsteps climbing invisible stairs. Emily joked once that it was our building's ghost, rattling chains to remind us rent was due. But ghosts don't flip you off. We met them properly, or as properly as apartment life allows, on a drizzly Saturday in early fall. Emily and I were hauling a thrift store dresser down the stairs, our arms straining under its oak weight, when the door to 2B swung open. Out stepped the man, mid-30s, tattooed forearms like coiled ropes. A faded band tee stretched across his chest. Behind him, the woman, his wife. Girlfriend? The lease said Travis and Lena Hargrove, but details were scarce. Peered over his shoulder, her dark hair tied in a messy knot, eyes narrowed against the cardboard. Boxes we'd already started, stacking in the hallway. "Need a hand?" Travis asked, his voice gravelly, like he'd smoked one too many of those balcony cigarettes. It was polite enough, but his gaze flicked to the boxes, then up to our faces, lingering a beat too long. Emily, ever the diplomat, flashed her brightest smile. "Oh, we're good. Almost there. Just some spring cleaning." It was October, but lies are elastic in tight spaces. He grunted, stepping aside to let us pass. But as we maneuvered the dresser past, Lena leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Moving out?" She said, not a question, more an accusation wrapped in silk. Her voice was low, almost sultry, but edged with something sharper, a probe. I hesitated, the dresser's edge digging into my palm. "Eventually," I replied, keeping it vague. "You two settling in okay? The walls here, they take getting used to." Travis chuckled, a sound like distant thunder. "Yeah, we noticed. That bass last night? Hope it didn't keep you up." He said it with a wink. But his eyes were flat, unreadable. Lena's lips curved, not quite a smile. "We're music people. Keeps the demons at bay." She flicked an imaginary speck from her sleeve. Then shut the door with a click that echoed up the stairwell like a locked gate. That exchange should have been our warning. Instead, we chalked it up to new neighbor jitters, the awkward dance of shared walls. Emily unpacked the dresser that afternoon, filling its drawers with our life, her sketchbooks, my old vinyl records, and we toasted with cheap wine to the calm before the calm. The bass stayed. Quiet for days after that, a truce we didn't earn. We packed in earnest then, taping boxes labeled Kitchen Fragile and Memories, Do Not Crush, shuttling loads to the U-Haul parked curbside under cover of early mornings. The complex was a hive of transients. Anyway, families with screaming. Toddlers on the first floor. The eternal college kids in 1C, blasting frat anthems, so our quiet exodus blended in. But they watched. God, how they watched. From their balcony. A concrete perch overlooking the courtyard like a vulture's nest. Travis and Lena had prime view of the loading zone. I'd catch glimpses. Him nursing a coffee, her scrolling her phone. Both angled just so, tracking our every trip. Once, as Emily bent to tie a bungee cord on a box of books, Lena called down, her voice carrying sweet as honey over the traffic hum. Careful with those heavy liftings. A bitch on the back, Emily waved thanks, oblivious. But I saw the smirk Travis hid behind his mug. It was the first crack that smirk. Like they knew something we didn't. Like our leaving wasn't an escape, but an invitation. The music's return was surgical, timed to our fatigue. It hit hardest on packing nights, when we'd collapse onto the couch amid bubble wrap and half-empty suitcases, only for the floor to throb awake at 9:15 sharp. Not random club beats anymore, but something deliberate, slow, grinding tracks with lyrics about betrayal and locked doors. The bass line a pulse that synced with your heartbeat until it felt like your own betrayal. Emily started sleeping with noise-canceling headphones. Her face slack in drugged repose from over-the-counter aids. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling cracks that spiderwebbed like accusations, wondering if they could hear my thoughts through the plaster. Then came the flip-off. It was midweek, rain sheeting the windows like a veil. I'd stepped onto our balcony for air, our third-floor airy, elevated above their perch, but not immune to the courtyard's shared misery. And there they were, arguing in low tones below. Words like "told you" and "they're watching us" floated up. Fragmented by the downpour, Travis paced, fists clenched. Lena gestured wildly toward our unit, as if sensing my shadow. He looked up, straight into my eyes, and extended his middle finger. Slow and deliberate, holding it like a toast. Lena followed suit, her nail polish glinting red even in the grey light. No words, just that gesture, raw and final, before they retreated inside. The door slam followed seconds later, vibrating the entire building like an aftershock. I didn't tell Emily right away. She was buried in realtor emails, dreaming of crown molding and walk-in closets. Her excitement a fragile shield against the grind. Instead, I submitted the lamppost repair request that night. Anonymous through the city's app, attaching photos of the shattered bulb and rusted arm. Safety hazard, I typed in the description. Affects lighting for multiple units. It felt petty. Weaponizing bureaucracy against flesh and blood spite. But what else was there? Confrontation? In a building where walls whispered secrets, words were just more noise. The next day brought the dirt on the mat, then escalated to whispers in the laundry room. I'd gone down at dawn, our ancient washer a communal beast in the basement, growling through cycles like a chained dog, only to find Lena there, folding delicates with mechanical precision. She didn't look up as I loaded my whites, but the air thickened, charged. "Quiet up there lately," she said finally, snapping a bra strap against the dryer. "Thought you were the noisy ones." I kept my eyes on the detergent dispenser, measuring powder like it was gunpowder. "We've been busy." "Packing, you know." Her laugh was soft, almost kind. "Yeah, we saw." "Balcony's got the best seat in the house." She paused, folding a pair of Travis's boxers with exaggerated care. "Funny thing, Travis swears he hears footsteps at night. Like someone's pacing right overhead. But hey, if you're leaving, problem solved, right?" The implication hung there, slimy as algae in the basement drain. Were they accusing us of, what, stalking? Or was it projection, their own paranoia bleeding through? I mumbled something about thin floors and escaped upstairs, heart hammering. Emily was at work. Graphic design gig downtown. Deadlines that kept her out till dusk, so the apartment felt cavernous. The echoes amplifying my unease. I double-checked the locks, peered through the peephole at an empty hole, and dove into packing like it was armor. We bolted, keys jangling like alarms, but the elevator was out. Maintenance, a sign read, dated yesterday. Stairs it was, 2 flights down, hearts pounding. At 2B's landing, the door cracked open an inch, just enough for an eye to gleam in the dark. "Safe trip," Travis's voice slithered out, followed by Lena's laugh, high, unhinged, like breaking glass. Outside, the U-Haul waited. But so did they. Not on the balcony, but leaning against the truck's hood, casual as you please. Travis dangled a set of jumper cables like a noose. Lena held a printout, flapping in the breeze. Our new address. Bold and black on realtor letterhead. "Congrats on the house," she said, tapping it. Cute neighborhood. Quiet, they say. Theft. Invasion. My fist clenched around the keys, knuckles white. "How did you—" "People talk," Travis cut in, straightening. "Or leave papers lying around." Sloppy, man! His grin was wolfish, teeth bared. "Just wanted to send a housewarming gift. Something to remember us by." Emily tugged my arm. "Let's go, please." Her voice trembled, but her grip was steel. We drove off in silence. The complex shrinking in the rear view, a concrete monolith birthing monsters. The house waited 20 miles out, a sanctuary of fresh paint and unlocked doors. But doubt trailed us like exhaust. That night, as we collapsed on air mattresses amid unpacked chaos, the first text came, unknown number. A photo of our new mailbox, timestamped an hour ago. Welcome home. Sweet dreams. We changed numbers, filed reports. Police shrugged at neighbor dispute. Management cited no evidence, but the whispers followed. Scratches on the walls, bass thumping from the vents, eyes in the tree line at dusk. They never showed Travis and Lena, but their shadow lingered. A bass note in the symphony of our new life. Turns out some neighbors don't stay downstairs. They burrow deeper until the only escape is wondering if you ever truly left.